interesting, and what most phones will struggle to do is when you've got two subjects in the same frame. Most phones will struggle to take that portrait shot accurately. Either you'll see blurs happening on one or the other, or, and I'm pretty sure almost 95% of the phones will not be able to do this, if you look at that little gap between these two, that is incredibly hard to find. And because of our enhanced AI semantic segmentation, we are able to detect where the subject is, where the background is, and apply that beautiful blur every single time. With the 13 megapixel front camera, you also have AI face unlock for those who prefer just to look at the phone to unlock. We will be getting studio lighting selfie, and this will come via an OTA. So to sum it up, the Note 7 Pro, 48 megapixel camera beast, unbeatable detailing, day, and as you saw, night as well. It's got a Sony IMX586 sensor, the largest, highest resolution sensor ever put on a smartphone. And we've taken it to the next level with a wider f1.79 aperture. It also supports 4K recording and an all-new night mode. Of course, from a portraiture perspective, you've got a 5 megapixel depth sensor, and you saw you can get some amazing portrait shots with the AI scene detection and portrait 2.0. In the front, you've got a 13 megapixel AI front camera, which does AI face beautify, scene detection, face unlock, as well as a studio lighting selfie that's coming pretty soon. Now, Note 7 Pro, a lot has changed. From the Note 6 Pro, we have, of course, changed the camera. It moves to a 48 megapixel camera with the 5 megapixel depth sensor. The super pixel is a 1.6 micron super pixel now, giving you amazing low light photography. Even the aperture is bigger, so it lets in a lot more light, getting you a lot more details. We've used an all-new Snapdragon 675, pushing the overall smartphone performance to the next level. We saw it is 17% faster than even the Snapdragon 710. We've got an all-new immersive design. We've got a 19.5 to a 9 dot notch display. We've got Corning Gorilla Glass 5, both in the front and the back. And this glass is curved beautifully that fits into the frame. We've got Quick Charge 4 supported. We've got an all-new Type-C, first for a Redmi Note. We've got 4K UHD recording. We've got EIS, and of course, a noteworthy 4000 mAh battery and dual SIM, dual VoLTE. It's not dual SIM, dual standby. It supports DSDV. So, a 48 megapixel camera beast in all its glory. Again, to recap, 48 megapixel Sony IMX586 sensor. Absolutely incredible. You saw the results. It is a flagship sensor that we are putting in the Note 7 Pro. It's got a Qualcomm Snapdragon 675, giving you flagship level gaming experience. It's got dual Corning Gorilla Glass 5 and an all-new gradient design, which looks absolutely stunning. It's got a 13 megapixel AI front camera, an all-new immersive dot notch display, which is 6.3 inch Full HD Plus, and a noteworthy 4000 mAh battery with Quick Charge 4 supported. So let's take an overall look at the product through a product video. sure you guys are going to love this phone. Absolutely sure. Okay, so that's the Note 7 Pro. Moving on, the second surprise. Now this one is something that you were anyways expecting. The Redmi Note 7. Now with the Redmi Note 7, we have performance redesign. And we'll get into each of these, but again, we are redefining what you get in its particular class. Let's get into performance. The Note 7 is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 660 AIE. No 625 because we lost them. It is a 2.2 gigahertz octa-core processor, and it absolutely changes everything else in its price class. It's based on a Cryo 260 architecture, and it's got 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. So essentially your gaming as well as your day-to-day tasks are easily handled. Now, why am I saying that this is a game changer or the best in its class? We have, over the past couple of weeks, or recent past, we have seen a couple of devices that launched with the so-called Snapdragon 660 processor. In fact, we found about 4 of them. And these range from about 15,000 all the way to about 25,000. And all of them claim that they're running a Qualcomm Snapdragon 660. So we decided to test how the Note 7 performs versus all of them. The Note 7 is on an average 10% faster than any of these devices. And you guys know why? Any guesses? It's because none of them were actually giving you a proper 660. All of them called out 660. They wrote about 660 in their product data sheets. They had the media briefs given out saying it's a 660, but in fact, it was a 660 Lite. And you get 10% lesser performance with that. In fact, Mi fans, if you know anyone who bought any of these devices, you should go and ask them to ask the brand to get their money back, at least 10% discount. So with the Note 7, you get a proper high performance Snapdragon 660. So these are obviously 660 Lite. We also decided to compare the Note 7 with some of the other recently launched devices. So you saw the Honor 10 Lite running a Kirin 710, and there's a couple of Samsung devices that use the same processor, the Exynos 7904. So both these have different price points, but the same processor. So we decided to compare with these as well. Of course, you know what the result is going to be, right? It's a Redmi Note. There's a massive difference. In fact, not only does it outperform the Kirin 710 by a margin of about 10%, but there's an almost 30% gap when you compare this with the Exynos 7904. I don't think it's really fair to compare these two. Now, it is a Note, and we're talking about performance. Of course, you expect a 4000 mAh 2-day battery. And like the Note 7 Pro, the Redmi Note 7 also gets support for Quick Charge 4. Moving on to the next section, the Redmi Note 7 camera. Now we gave a few of our Mi fans the Redmi Note 7 to go and test, and they came back with some incredible snaps. Photographs like this. Now this is a portrait shot, and it's absolutely stunning. You can of course see Xiaomi's semantic segmentation working perfectly, but even the detailing that you see on the subject is absolutely on point. In fact, let's go a little further out and a little more complex as a situation. Take a look at this shot. Now the colors, the detailing, the vibrancy, all of that has been preserved really well. And this one is my personal favorite. This is from Jaipur, and this was during a very cloudy day, so it's a harder shot to get. But the Note 7 does that perfectly. So on the Redmi Note 7, what we have is dual camera setup, a 12 megapixel primary clubbed with a 2 megapixel depth sensor. And this 12 megapixel primary sensor is a 1.25 micron sensor. So about 25% larger overall pixel area compared to a traditional 1.12. And hence gathering in a lot more light to give you those results that you just saw. Like the Note 7 Pro, the Note 7 also will get a steady handheld night photography mode. And this, of course, you can see it dramatically changes and improves the overall low light performance. The Note 7 also has a 13 megapixel front camera, and it gives you those amazing pictures. You get an AI portrait selfie, you got AI beautify, you have AI scene detection, and of course it supports face unlock. If you look at this particular example, like the Note 7 Pro, you can clearly figure out how well this has worked. In fact, the gap between the two subjects is even bigger, and you can clearly see that the background has been blurred out while the subjects are completely in focus, all the details have been preserved, and the edge detection is absolutely flawless. Moving on to the design, the Note 7 also follows the Aura design philosophy. You've got an immersive experience, incredible focus on the detail, yet retaining all the functional aspects of the device. The Note 7 has a 6.3-inch dot-notch display. It is again a 19.5:9 display. It's a full high definition plus display, and it still features the super expensive LTPS in-cell screen technology. And because of all of this, we're able to get smaller bezels. And like the Note 7 Pro, the Note 7 also features Corning Gorilla Glass 5 both at the front and the back. No compromises here. It comes in 3 amazing colors. We have the